If you are a keep politics out of hobby spaces person, click off the video. This is not the one for you. Hey there. So remember when I said that Coffee and Dollies was officially not on this channel and it was going to be moving to second channel? I fully meant that when I said it, but here we are. Although there is no coffee today. There are Dollies, but they're in various states of... You can see what's happening. I couldn't really think of another format to put this as rather than like a Coffee and Dollies update type thing. And that's because this is really going to be an off-the-cuff releasing of my thoughts and feelings. This is not going to be like a typical Coffee and Dollies. First of all, there's no coffee. I completely forgot it upstairs. And there really isn't enough coffee in the world for this. I think we could call this more like despair and Dollies, doomsday and Dollies, decline of my mental outlook and Dollies. If you've seen the second episode of Unhinged, not the last one with the Barbies, or there might even be another one by now. Guys, I don't even know. I've been putting off making this video, but if you've seen the last one, you might know I'm in my don't give a fuck era, and a big part of that is that like, I just kind of want to be back in my roots a little bit, and I just want to be able to talk about stuff. And the stuff I want to talk about today is kind of just giving you guys some insight into like what is happening with me right now. I feel like it's not a surprise. I feel like a lot of you might relate to it. What we're not going to do before we start is we are not going to invalidate my feelings or anyone else's feelings in the comments. This is a little bit politically charged. So I'm expecting that there is going to be some discourse. Respectful discourse is fine. Anybody coming in and like posting a bunch of like eagle emojis, Murica emojis or whatever is like, don't do that. Come on. That's not going to be cool. We're also not going to be telling myself or other people in the comments that other people have it much worse or that this and this is going on and therefore we shouldn't be upset or whatever, because like that is such like straw man arguing. Like you can't just come in and use someone else's plight to put down or diminish someone else's. Like, if you're very concerned about those other things, which I would gander to say a lot of us are, you go ahead and advocate for those. You make a space for it, or you join spaces that are doing that. You don't come into this space and make that about this, because two things can be true at the same time. That's okay. I feel like that was enough preamble. I've never been a 5-year plan person. I'm always kind of like it could be like path A, path B, path C. Maybe they intertwine, maybe they don't. Maybe I think I'm on path C, but maybe it's actually path D, and that's okay. I'm pretty go with the flow, like where it's possible, but I do like to think ahead and try and plan for different scenarios, or like have concepts of plans, like as much as I hate that sentence. But like none of the plans or things I had thought were going to happen or could happen like 5 years ago when I began this amazing journey, like none of them ended or resulted, or not ended up here, but like none of them have arrived at this destination we're at today. Some people definitely saw this coming, like, but it was not me. Yeah, like, again, yeah, this video is a bit of an update, but it's also sort of like, let's get my thoughts out into the universe. If anyone actually cares, I don't know, maybe this is just like a video for me to like reflect back on in the future, and that's okay too. I guess to kind of like try and loop it into doll stuff, like discussing like this through the lens of like cast doll pre-orders. I recently sent out Raven and Edgar's pre-order dolls. Like I have them all painted and stuff. I was sick as a dog while I was doing that. I had influenza A. I am also still tentatively planning a Clover and Poppy pre-order for like end of May, maybe, beginning June. I'm just really stressed about it though. And like that was the segue to this, but like, yeah, it's stressful. I know it's a re-release, and re-releases are usually like so much less stressful because like I already have like all sample photos and I have the sample dolls and like I can take like some new photos and like I already know what the weights are. I know the shipping measure. Like I know all that kind of stuff and it should be way easier. I would definitely trade that for the amount of anxiety I have about it right now. What's making me anxious? Thank you for asking. I say to the camera, pretending you're a person. Okay, I'm really trying not to upset people, especially with the insane amount of keep politics out of hobby spaces. If you are a keep politics out of hobby spaces person, click off the video. This is not the one for you. Just as a like warning, I guess. If you are staying to watch this, you are consenting to letting politics into your hobby spaces. So you have been warned. Okay. For the rest of us whose world doesn't exist in a bubble, and know that also means that the people in our hobbies and our hobbies themselves do not exist in a bubble, let us continue. What is going on in the United States is like so beyond what I thought could happen. Like, I feel like what seems like forever ago, my brain had decided that I thought America could end up in some like horrible Handmaid's Tale situation, and like knock on wood, we don't want that. But it almost seemed like to me there were like so many steps in between inauguration and that I was like, oh, this is going to be like a decline over 4 years or something. Like I knew it would be bad. Or I hoped it wouldn't be, but like realistically, when somebody says they're going to do something, I tend to believe that they're at least going to try to do that thing. But I had no idea with what ferocity this would be happening. Like people's rights, freedoms, liberties, their economy, like the world economy realistically, but like their Americans' economy, like, and I know a lot of my viewers are American, and I don't know if you're all feeling it yet, but I know many of you are. It's shocking. Like, I know a lot of other discourse is that like a lot of news that comes out of other countries about America, you guys aren't seeing it. And you don't necessarily see like the world's reaction, their true reaction to what's going on. And like by and large, for most people I know, like most Canadians I know, we are shocked and horrified for you. But now for us, I can both be horrified and terrified for my friends, for people I don't know, for queer people, for like people of color, for immigrants, for freaking tourists, like everybody. You can be horrified for all of these people and still be horrified for yourself and your future. And that's where we're at. Because if we don't know, I hope this isn't the first you're hearing of it, but all these 51st state jokes, they're not jokes. They're preamble. I like that word today. Preamble for something. There's already like an on-again, off-again trade war. I don't even know what to call it. The inconsistency, the quickness with which it's tariffs, no tariffs. Like your guys' stock market is like, it's a mess. And it's doing it to ours too. It's doing it to everybody's. Everybody is like, what the hell's going on? But it's also like, are we also low-key going to be in a war? And I'm just telling you, I don't want to be in a war with the Americans. Like, I also don't want to give up our country because there's so much I love about Canada. Like, Canada has problems, but every country has problems. But like, I am not going to trade my country's problems for America's problems. Our country's problems, we have issues with things like, equality for Indigenous people and access to water. We have issues with, especially at a provincial level, healthcare funding. And it's not that we don't have the money for it, it's that it's being siphoned off. But anyways, that's not, you don't need to know all the politics of my country to know that I would not trade the issues we have here for what's happening there. The tangerine tyrant, like, making comments about annexing my country, it's not a joke. It never was. All of the 51st State merch, all of the late night hosts making jokes about it, maybe have led people to believe, or maybe people just don't care, or maybe they really do genuinely think this is like funny shit. It's not funny. And like, as Canadians, we are generally horrified. But anyways, how does this relate to dolls? Because let's loop back to that, I guess. Honestly, it's all the what ifs. Like, this kind of preamble. God, is that going to be my new, like, word? Is preamble? Can we not? Can I find a better word? This new revelation. This 15 minutes I've been talking, I guess, so far. I don't know how much of that I'm going to cut out, but it's kind of just to set the framing for those who are not necessarily getting the news the way that we are getting it and the rest of the world is getting it. They're not seeing things necessarily the way we're seeing things through the lens of being a small, like, art business. Let's say shipping. What if, like, I open a cast doll pre-order only to find myself in a situation where suddenly, via trade war, via whatever, I can't ship or receive cast dolls coming in through customs? What if in between the time I take a pre-order, and because I always include the shipping broken up over sections, what if when that happens, the shipping rates absolutely skyrocket, which is not possible, even just based on the amount of airplanes that are no longer going from Canada into the U.S. I think 70% of Canada's air travel to the U.S. has, at this moment, ceased. If there's less planes, the planes are it's more expensive, like, to offset the costs and stuff. And then even if they're not, like, super expensive, maybe now it's super slow. And, like, when things are delayed, that's stressful because the longer something is, like, in transit, the longer it has to go missing, or get damaged, or get, like, misdelivered, anything. There's also a pretty solid chance things start getting, like, stuck in customs for longer. And this is something that when packages hit customs to Canada, or, like, when I send to Europe, I send dolls. I've sent dolls to Africa. I've sent dolls. Oh my God, I've sent them pretty much globally. I think the only place I've never sent a doll is, like, Russia. They go through it, and then usually have to pay some kind of, like, duty or fee for it. That's been pretty well the standard in a lot of countries since forever. I think this is, like, a newer thing for the Americans. I could be wrong. I was actually, like, shook when I found out that to this point, you guys, the Americans, were not paying duties and tariffs. I found this out during one of my earlier pre-orders. I used FedEx as my who I was shipping through, and FedEx was charging duty fees to my customers. And I got so many emails that time asking if, like, I was going to cover these, or, like, what these were. And I had already also gotten some emails when I went to run my teeny tinies order in February. And there were people asking me that if they ended up getting duty fees, or customs, or tariffs, or whatever, if I was covering those, because, again, there was a lot of information going around about tariffs being paid by the original country. So if a tariff is put on everything coming in from Canada, like, that's supposed to hurt us. And it does, but in the way that like when there are tariffs, people tend to import less. So we get less business. And that's like the pain of tariffs for the country you put the tariffs on. To my understanding, I'm not an economist. So, but yeah, people were asking me if I was going to be covering the tariffs. And I had to tell people, no, import fees and tariffs are onto the person importing. I had to explain that to a few people. Luckily, it seems like nobody has gotten tariffed on them. My non-Americans have been paying their import fees. They know what's up, but like that was something I didn't know that I was going to have to explain to people. Losing the small revenue margin I make on my dolls, like to lost packages, increased shipping costs, like what's going on with trade is changing literally every day. Today there's tariffs, tomorrow they're held off until the end of April, tomorrow, and then the day after, now they're double tariffs. Ooh, scary double tariffs. Like, it's so inconsistent, like nobody can plan, and I really think that that's a big part of it. Destabilizing is part of what's going on. And like, consider me destabilized, like emotionally at least, you know. I sound like I'm going to cry, but it's literally just my throat. Again, I just had influenza A, so like, forgive. I'm really not trying to sound like Phoebe from Friends singing about sticky shoes, but that is what this is giving right now. So I'm really sorry, like, that this is an audio heavy. I'm even trying to use a mic. I'm trying to make this okay, but like what my throat is doing, there's just a lot of uncertainty. Okay. On uncertainty and dolls, let's talk the economy. Again, not an economist, just your average 30, how old am I, 33? I think I'm 33 now. I had a birthday, surprise, but I had a birthday a while ago, and I turned 33, so that's my life now. Anyways, what was I saying? Economy. For the last 2 years, I've been waiting for the economy to improve. Literally, like, I can't even tell you how many times I've said to, like, Pablo or, like, my husband or whatever, just saying, like, I want to do this project, but I know that it's going to be expensive upfront for me, and I need to wait to know that I'll be able to get a return on it. Or, like, all kinds of stuff. Like, I have wanted to go to like a doll convention forever, but I can't because the economy, like, there's so much stuff I've been wanting to do, and I just have been waiting and doing other things, but it's not getting better. Like, I really thought like 2 years ago, I was like, it's okay. It'll start getting better. Like 22, I think was when I started saying like, oh, it's going to get better. It'll be fine. Like, right around the time all those tech companies started, like, laying people off. Do you remember that? Like, it was, like, Shopify, Google, Facebook, like, Microsoft. I don't know, maybe not Microsoft, but, like, a bunch of them were, like, layoff. 25%, 10%, everybody gone, no jobs. And I saw that immediately because, like, I came out of, like, I used to work in software. So, like, I was watching all that happen, and I was like, that's not great. And I was like, okay, well, maybe, like, things will round out. It'll get better. And it's like, it is not. It's not. It's gotten so much worse. Like, between, like, the inflation that everyone's had and then, like, the housing costs, at least here in Canada, the housing costs is wild. And now with all this, like, it's... yeah. People are still buying dolls. I know that. I'm very grateful I know that because, like, I am still selling dolls. But I am also very, very aware that the rate at which most people are able to buy dolls has really decreased. Like, and this is not a blame on the customer. Like, this is not at anybody here. This is not, like, anything like that. It has just been, like, a reality that I have known for the last 2 years. I don't know. It kind of just feels like waiting for a drought to finish. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, okay, well, like, it can't keep rain. Like, it's gotta rain sometime, right? Like, come on. And where? What? It hasn't. I think I was really hopeful for those 2 years that the end was coming. That sounds really dark, not the end, but like that the economy would improve. Like, how long can the recession last? Like, that's, especially when they were refusing to, I still don't even know if they've called it a recession yet, but like, we've been in a recession, and I've been like, okay, we got to come out the other end. Like, there's going to be some industry, and like, war was not how I was hoping that would happen. I think we could probably do this without the war, maybe. People are struggling to afford food, housing, etc., obviously, and things like luxury items and dolls are gonna take a back seat. And like, hopefully nobody begrudges anybody that, but like, I've been super fortunate in that like my doll sales have been like fine. If I'm making the same amount of sales, but I have a larger audience now, the conversion of it is different. So my conversion is lower, which is how I know like I am also being affected by this. But I'm not trying to sound like this whiny artist, guys. This is not what I'm going for. I'm just trying to explain it in a way that it's like, it is affecting artist sales. I've seen very popular artists who used to sell out their 50 dolls. Like, they would have 50 slots for a pre-order and they'd be sold out in 5 minutes, and their pre-orders are now lasting a few days. And it's like, that might not seem big to somebody struggling to like get like 10 orders or 20 orders. I know that that's like a big difference in conversions and stuff. I know doll sales are down across the board. I know why. It makes sense. And while I am extremely grateful for the steadiness at which I've had orders, there is so much uncertainty about the future. I don't know that my next pre-order will hit minimum. I used to be pretty confident in it, but I'm not unconfident. I'm not lacking confidence in my art or in like everyone supporting me. I lack confidence in the economy, the global economy, not Canada's, like everybody's. And I also know that I would say about 50% of my customers are American. And that's another reason this is a very stressful video to make for me, because I'm Canadian, being afraid about the American politic stuff, and you can understand, right? Being authentic and sharing my feelings about it and talking about it. I think not saying anything says something. I think that's the easiest way to say it. Being a doll artist, being able to like have like a maintenance level of orders, which has been like fantastic, but I do feel it in the way that there's uncertainty about the future. I don't know about being able to invest in future big projects, being able to support other doll artists the way I want to. I used to, every time I had a pre-order, I would join a pre-order for another small artist. And in that way, it was like, hey, I was giving back to the artist community. And I have not been able to do that because I've been trying to keep my doll prices steady. I do know a lot of doll artists raise their prices to make themselves able to maintain and live, right? Like the profit margin, it was already pretty small. It's smaller now. But yeah, like I said, I do think I'm going to have a pre-order for Clover and Poppy probably the end of May. Judging by how that goes, we'll see about the fall pre-order. But yeah, like I said, I don't know. I feel like I can't plan pre-orders out like I used to. So that's what we're hoping for the next one. So what I'm also trying to do is refocus on affordable options. Like, of course, I have like the teeny tinies, right? And they are a lot more affordable as far as ball-jointed dolls than, say, a cast doll. But I'm also working on, like, other kinds of dolls, maybe some, like, art dolls, plushies, figures. I have some figurines I've been working on, like, little animal ones. If that's something, it's, like, keychains, bracelets, like, handmade ones. Not like having a manufacturer made them, like handmade stuff like that is interesting to you. Let me know. Maybe I'll put it on my online shop. But I did kind of make a bunch of like bracelets, necklaces, rings, keychains, type things with like vendor markets for maybe the fall in mind. But either way, the other thing that's like been bumming me out, I will say, like, I'm not begrudging any artist raising their price. I'm not begrudging anybody not being able to afford as many dolls or any dolls at all. My hope is that at least like my audience here can see or continues to see doll artists through the same compassionate lens. In the same way that I know I'm not owed anyone's order, artists don't owe people unchanging prices because their costs are changing, so their prices are changing. And just because it means that like someone can no longer afford to buy it, if that's what the artist has to sell it at to survive, then that's what they have to sell it at to survive. Because art is like luxury items, and people maybe are upset that if they can't afford something anymore because of the way things are going, or life is going, or whatever, it's normal to be angry, but it sucks that sometimes that anger, the resentment isn't towards like oligarchs or billionaires or governments, or like it's misplaced, and sometimes it's put on artists. Having a sentiment that artists are greedy money grabbers, like seeing an increase in that because an artist has the audacity to charge for their work, or seeing people say that artists shouldn't be, like there shouldn't be full-time doll artists, and it's like a luxury thing that people do, and basically that if a doll artist doesn't have another full-time job, they basically deserve to starve, essentially. I've seen that sentiment. The connection of like economic hard times and artist devaluation sucks. It sucks so bad, and it sucks for everybody. And like what is the world without art? And that's not in a I'm special, be nice to me. Like anybody can be an artist. Anybody can make art. It's all that holds you back is practice and passion. In the future, I was promised the AI utopia we were presented. Didn't it always go like one of two ways? Like it was always like the end of the world or utopia. Like if you make the machines do like the hard labor, like stuff like that, and then everyone only has to work like 20 hours a week or 10 hours a week, and then everyone has all this time for like scientific progress and art, and that is what I wanted. That is what we all wanted. Like there's no reason we can't have that, but like, I mean, there is a reason, but it's not a good reason. But like, you don't have to support artists, but can we not, as a community, get behind the idea artists asking to be paid for their work are money hungry? That if they don't have a full-time job outside of making dolls, they deserve economic hardship. That art is not as valid of work as anything else. Drop the idea that artists should work for free and all art should be made purely for the love of making art. Because in the utopia world, yes. Unfortunately, we are a society. We are currently still under capitalism, and under capitalism, even art is commodified. The way for artists to exist in capitalism is for them to charge for their work. That is what it is. That it's like, it's just very be mad at the system, not at the other people. These issues and this pain is up versus down pain. It's not left and right. It's not artist versus laborer. It's not whose work is more valid. It's not who's right and wrong. It's those above us exploiting us, and then making us point fingers at each other so that we are not noticing them exploiting us. That's what it is. The idea that artists should, in a capitalist society, create solely for the love of creating. The result of that is that all art will be created by the already privileged and wealthy. That's the result of that. But yeah, anyways, I keep going off on tangents. Do you see what I mean about, like, this is a thoughts and feelings and less of an update? I didn't lie. There are smidges of update in this video. Plans moving forward. I guess this is something we can cover quickly. I don't know if you can tell by this conversation, but I've been stressed and burnt out a bit. I still love dolls. I love them so much. I love making. I love creating. Now, what I'm creating at the time can look different. My dolls are like my art, right? So they're largely a reflection of me and how I feel and where I'm at. And I feel like that's really obvious. I feel like where my pastel sweetheart cutie type dolls were about the joy of doll making, and they were a representation of the happiness I felt making and creating, and dolls and childhood and like nostalgia, and that's what it was. And I feel like where I am at and where I'm going is doll making as escapism. My anxiety and my stress into cute things. I know some people, that's what they do, but it's not actually what works for me. Things get weird. And I don't know that the things I'm going to be making are going to appeal to anybody. I'm going to be so for real. I've never really known, but I do know I kind of built up an audience of people who love like that joy expression type doll. And I think dolls that express uncertainty or change or anything like that, I don't know that that's going to be interesting to anyone. I also feel like I need to kind of dig my heels into each project a little more. I'm still creating. I'm still here. What I'm creating and why I'm creating it are vastly different from 5 years ago. But anyways, I'm going to go because I have to edit this video because it has to go up tomorrow. I think maybe I'll post this as a premiere so that like we can have a conversation about it if anyone wants to have this conversation. Let's just remember, like, in the comments and like as we carry ourselves into our everyday lives and our hobby spaces, let's remember that this hobby and dolls and art are, like, for a lot of us, like, our safe spaces, our happy spaces. And with so much crap going on in the world and so much stress and anxiety, let's not point fingers at each other. And let's not take our anger at other things and put them onto each other. Let's be here for each other. Let's support each other. I gotta go. I have no more brain power for this. If you're already subscribed, thanks so much for subscribing. If you're new here, I hope you like the content and consider subscribing. As always, I hope you have a fantastic day. Bye.